1. When Lucas was reported to have an affair with a popular actress, I was at home preparing lunch for him. Brother, quickly look at the trending searches. They're going crazy. My cousin's voice was urgent, but I calmly clicked on the trending searches. The title was strikingly visible in front of me. Hashtag the president of the Foo Group had a passionate kiss with the popular actress Amelia outside the hotel late at night. This article dug out the timeline of the ambiguous relationship between the two. The two dined together, took walks together, went shopping together, and watched movies together. There were plenty of pictures to prove these daily activities. But during these times, Lucas told me he was busy. The comments section below was abuzz with discussions. They're truly a match made in heaven. I've always said that Amelia has a good eye for men. Mr. Lucas is so handsome and wealthy. Ah! They're really a perfect couple, a handsome man and a beautiful woman. Sister, I wish you happiness. Lock them in. I remember Mr. Lucas had a partner, right? It seemed to be a man. Did I remember wrong? Upstairs, everyone makes mistakes when they're young. It was a thing from college. Haven't you noticed? Since taking over the family business, Mr. Lucas hasn't mentioned it again. They must have broken up a long time ago. It's good that he's on the right track now. Lucas finally couldn't resist having an affair. I looked at the prepared meals in front of me and still put them into the lunchbox. Let me deliver a meal to him one last time. When I rushed into the office, Lucas was bowing his head and typing on the keyboard. My arrival didn't startle him at all. Lucas, my voice was not very loud, but in the quiet office, he could definitely hear it. He finally stopped what he was doing, glanced at the lunchbox in my hand, and his tone was as indifferent as ever. Just put it on the table and leave. I have work to do. Don't you have anything to explain? I picked up my phone, opened the hot search, and placed it in front of him. Seeing him quickly take in the information with a glance, I quietly waited for his answer. Oliver, aren't you annoying with all these questions? We're just friends. Do you think I can't live without you? He frowned, and his voice was cold. I looked straight at him and asked seriously, Lucas, do friends kiss? His expression instantly froze on his face. Then, for some unknown reason, he seemed to give up and start acting recklessly. If you want to break up, then break up. I just realized that women are better. They're soft when you hug them. Actually, the hickey you saw on my shirt last time wasn't accidentally rubbed. It was left by Amelia. And last time when I said I had a meeting at the company, I was actually having dinner with Amelia at a restaurant. Since you already know, I have nothing more to hide. Lucas proudly listed them in front of me. I seemed to be numb inside and didn't feel much. As early as 2 years ago, I noticed that Lucas had the intention to cheat. As time passed, I had cleared all my love for him. Why on earth do people change? How many sweet words and solemn vows had he said to me with this mouth? How could it all change overnight? But I had already sobered up. It's too easy to get, so it becomes less cherished. This is just the inherent weakness of rich men. I've long wanted to break up with Lucas, just looking for an opportunity. I threw the carefully prepared meal into his arms, looking sad. Lucas, you really disappoint me. After saying that, I turned around and left without hesitation. Finally broke up with this scumbag. I secretly breathed a sigh of relief in my heart. The only advantage of me is that I can let go when it's time to. Even if I'm in great pain, I'll tear him out of my heart. 2. That night, Lucas put his arm around Amelia's slender waist and posted a high-profile post on WeChat Moments to show their love. It's still nice to be with a girl. She's fragrant and soft. All the mutual friends below left messages wishing them a long-lasting relationship. The words a handsome man and a beautiful woman made me feel very indignant. I called my handsome and athletic cousin with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. He took off his shirt, showing his well-defined abs. I directly hugged his waist and also posted a post on WeChat Moments. It's still nice to be with a younger guy. He's strong and fit. It implies that Lucas is old and feeble, not as good as my cousin. Anyone who knows our relationship can easily understand the hidden meaning. After I posted it, I felt secretly elated. In the middle of the night, I was lying in bed binge watching a drama and crying my eyes out over the great family affection. Click. The sound of a key turning in the lock rang out, and then the footsteps gradually approached me. I was so immersed in my emotions that I didn't notice there was a person standing behind me. The man pulled me up from the bed and searched around. Where is the man? Where did you hide that lover of yours? I hugged my tablet and looked at the furious man in front of me with red-rimmed eyes. Lucas lifted the quilt, looked around, and even neurotically lay on the bed and sniffed the smell. After he stopped his actions and slowly approached me, rubbing the corner of my eye with his fingertips, his voice was hoarse. Have you been crying? He can't possibly think I was crying for him. How ridiculous. I turned my head away, not wanting to look at him. He grabbed my chin and leaned down to kiss me. I slapped him hard. Are you crazy? Oliver, what on earth are you up to? Lucas frowned and spoke in an unfriendly tone. Mr. Lucas, it was you who proposed the breakup. You can show your affection on your WeChat moments, but I can't. Don't be so double-standard. Seeing my nonchalant attitude, Lucas was so angry that he turned around and was about to leave. Leave the key and go. He angrily took out the key and threw it on the table. Before leaving, he viciously left a sentence. Oliver, don't you ever regret it. Watching the back of the person leaving, I couldn't help but burst into laughter. Our relationship started with him. In college, Lucas fell in love with me at first sight and then pursued me relentlessly and very publicly. He didn't care about the worldly eyes and carefully presented his burning love to me. In the process of getting along slowly, I agreed to his confession. Undeniably, I did sincerely like Lucas before. He came from a wealthy family since childhood. Even though he was a bit arrogant in character, I was still willing to accommodate him. But since Lucas graduated, he has become even more excessive, as if he was certain that I would never leave him. My love for him gradually faded away as time passed. His kindness to me has long been offset by his wanton behavior over the years. 3. Teacher, don't forget to give me a lesson today. When I woke up the next day, it was already 11 of the clock. I stayed up late watching dramas yesterday and overslept. Looking at the message sent by Henry, I rubbed my temples. I almost forgot that it was the weekend today. I'll be right there. The tutoring time is set at 2 p.m., but I have to have dinner with him every Saturday. This was agreed upon from the beginning. When I arrived at the single-family villa, the young master was already sitting there obediently waiting for me. Teacher, you're here. When Henry saw me coming, his eyes immediately lit up. He raised his lips and smiled at me. His little canine teeth sparkled in the light. It's really hard to associate such a sunny and clean boy with the description from his parents. I saw the high-paying job offer and came to inquire. His parents told me that due to negligence in his childhood, Henry's character had become paranoid and irritable, and he was extremely prone to anger. They asked me to be mentally prepared. Every teacher who came to apply for the job before, after hearing such an introduction, ended up running away in a hurry. At first I was on guard, but later I was gradually influenced by his personality and thought that he was just an extremely sensible child who longed for love. He is very polite to me and studies very hard. After dinner, I went to his room to tutor him. While he was doing the questions, I picked up his test paper and looked at it carefully. His handwriting was clear and neat, and he was very serious in doing the questions. He had made rapid progress compared with before. Teacher, can you stay with me tonight? My parents are busy, and I'm afraid to be alone. Henry stopped writing and looked at me with clean and pure eyes. I thought for a long time and couldn't think of a reason to refuse. I really don't want to see the sad expression on the child's face. Okay. Seeing that I agreed, his eyes were full of excitement. I looked at his soft black hair and couldn't help reaching out to ruffle it. He didn't get angry even when his hair was messed up. He showed a pair of little tiger teeth and smiled with his eyes bent. It's really good to be young, full of energy. In a daze while sleeping, I felt a hot body pressing against my back, and someone whispered in my ear, Teacher. Frowning, I turned over and murmured, So hot. Soon I was firmly held in place, and there was a warm touch on my lips, which disappeared as soon as it touched. Don't leave me, for it's been nearly a month since I broke up with Lucas. During this period, neither of us has contacted the other. Not deleting each other's WeChat is the last bit of decency we give to each other. After graduating from university, he took over the company. Few people knew about our relationship. He was no longer as impulsive as he was when he was young, confessing his love to me again and again in front of the whole school. When the passion reached its peak, he hugged me and repeatedly expressed his love. Oliver, I love you, only you. What if you betray me one day? Then let me be struck by lightning and die a terrible death. He said it without hesitation, with a firm look in his eyes, as if he was determined never to break his promise in his life. Look, in the face of reality, once made vows will eventually turn into ruins. Lucas still betrayed me. 1 month later, I received his engagement invitation. He invited me to attend. Oliver, Amelia and I are getting engaged. You'll wish me happiness, right? When my cousin learned the news of their engagement, he seemed even more excited than me. He was so angry that he said things without thinking. Is Lucas crazy? Why does he invite you to his engagement? I wish he has no descendants and dies a horrible death. I was amused by his reaction. Brother, if you want to cry, just cry. I won't laugh at you. Let's not go to this engagement party. Don't make yourself unhappy. Do I want to cry? I touched my heart. There was no feeling at all. The first time I saw the ambiguous chat records between him and others on Lucas' phone, my heart was filled with pain. Again and again, I've already become numb. I didn't make a scene or go hysterical. That would only make me look more pitiful. I pretended not to know about these things and started to be even nicer to Lucas. I cooked for him every day and made hangover soup for him when he got drunk at night. He mumbled my name in his dreams, but this didn't stop him from getting intimate with others outside. Since then, I never let him touch me again, and he completely became dependent on me. Well, we're engaged. There's no need to save any face. I deleted his WeChat and phone number together. He betrayed me. How could he think I'd wish him happiness? Of course, I wish he gets struck by lightning and meets a bad end. After all, these were his own words. 5. The engagement banquet was held on a grand scale. All the major media came, and the two's love once dominated the hot searches. The fans were even happier than the protagonists. Finally engaged. Amelia, you've finally found a good home. May you last forever. The two of you really look good together. A perfect match. Woohoo, so happy. Mr. Lucas looks at Amelia so affectionately. Today, when I opened the social platform, it was all about these two people. It's really disgusting. Dong dong. There came a violent knock on the door from outside. I walked over and looked out through the peephole. It was Lucas. His face was flushed, and he was unsteady on his feet. He leaned against my door and knocked on it forcefully. I frowned. Is this guy crazy? He's already engaged, but he comes to my place to act drunk. He was making so much noise that the neighbors were starting to complain. My voice was tinged with anger. Lucas, if you keep this up, I'll call the police and report you for disturbing the neighbors. After a long time, there was no sound outside. I guessed that the person had left. Just then, Henry's phone call came. So late, there must be something urgent. Teacher, I'm so cold and my head is so dizzy. Henry's voice came through the phone, very weak. I could already imagine him lying on the bed, curled up in his thin body. I walked to the door and started to pick up my clothes and put on my shoes. Where are your parents? Aren't they at home? What about the aunt at home? My parents went to the company for a meeting, and the aunt asked for leave today because of something at home. The moment I opened the door, I happened to see the man at the door. His tall body was curled up on the ground. His eyes were bloodshot. When he saw me coming out, he looked at me pitifully. He called my name in a soft voice. Oliver, why haven't you come to see me these days? I'm already engaged. How long are you going to be angry? Lucas stepped forward and wanted to grab my sleeve. It seemed that the person on the other end of the phone heard the noise here and asked carefully, if you're busy, it's okay for me. Hearing this, I shook the person off decisively and looked at him with a hint of mockery for no reason. Lucas grabbed my arm. His eyes were bloodshot. Who is this man? Looking at his ferocious appearance, I left with a vicious remark. Lucas, how despicable you are. What does it matter to you who he is? I yanked my arm back and pushed him to the ground. Fortunately, I've trained over the years. Otherwise, I really wouldn't know what to do with such a scoundrel. Lucas stared angrily at my departing figure and roared behind me. How dare you betray me? You said you'd be good to me all your life. You promised. What nonsense. Is your so-called all your life just empty talk? Am I supposed to stay with you for the rest of my life? After I left, the neighbor called the police, and Lucas was detained for 3 days on the grounds of disturbing the peace. 6. As I expected, Henry really had a fever. I touched his forehead. It was burning hot. His eyes looking at me were moist, as if he was extremely uncomfortable. Have you taken your medicine? Henry shook his head, his voice full of grievance. I'm afraid of the bitter taste. I made some medicine for him, coaxed him to drink it, and then gave him a piece of candy. Seeing him slowly fall asleep, I finally felt relieved. I looked down and saw that Henry was holding my arm tightly. I was just about to pull my arm away and leave. Henry's thick and curly eyelashes fluttered slightly. He held on even tighter and murmured, "Don't go. I'll be good." I stroked his head and comforted him. "I won't go. I won't go." By the time the person woke up, my arm was already numb. "Teacher, am I being a bother?" Henry whispered softly, as if as long as I responded, he would burst into tears right away. "Not at all, not at all." Sure enough, as soon as I said this, a big smile immediately spread across his face. "Oh, I knew it." 7. Lucas sent me a friend request again, saying there was something important. I clicked to accept. I really want to see what this so-called important thing he mentioned is. 3 days in detention should teach him a lesson. "Oliver, the person in your WeChat moments is not your new love at all. I've investigated. He's your cousin, right? You're doing this to get my attention, aren't you? Even though I'm engaged, if you plead with me, I can consider calling off the engagement." Even through the screen, I can imagine the smug little look on Lucas's face when he sent this message. It seems that the image of me always obeying him has been deeply ingrained in his mind. Even now, he still thinks that I'm still head over heels in love with him, willing to do anything for him and can never leave him. Are you crazy? After sending this message, I deleted him from my WeChat. Not long after this incident, Amelia came to me. She rushed to my workplace. As soon as she saw me, she pounced on me, which really gave me a fright. People around were looking at us as if watching a show. I leaned close to her and whispered in her ear, "Are you crazy about getting on the hot search? Why are you so close to me?" As soon as I said this, she immediately moved far away from me and tugged at her face mask to make sure it was in place. "Let's have a talk." I found a cafe with Amelia. She took off her sunglasses and gave me a disdainful look. "Lucas loves me. Stop pestering him." I lifted my eyelids and glanced at her indifferently. "Since you're so confident, why are you coming to me? I know you two have been in a relationship since college, but I also liked him back then. I even chose to become an actress for him, just hoping that one day he would remember me." Fortunately, after graduation, Lucas's mother approached me. She said that as long as I could break you two up, she would let us get married. I began to tease him from time to time, giving him a great sense of novelty. When I was having a great time with him in bed, listening to him telling you on the phone that he was working overtime, it was so exciting. But he wouldn't let me show up in front of you, so I endured it. But I secretly let the paparazzi take photos and post them online, until his mother urged him to get married, and his father threatened to take away everything he had if he didn't break up with you. And you're so naive. Breaking up with you is what you deserve. Lucas has also promised to get engaged to me. I watched the happiness on her face gradually turn hideous. But now, although he sleeps in the same bed with me every day, he doesn't want to touch me. When he's drunk, he calls out your name. He said he wanted to eat the food I cooked. I made it for him, but he took one bite and threw it away in front of me, saying I'm not you. Why? I understand him better. I watched her go crazy in front of me expressionlessly, very calmly. In a way, you two are quite a match. After all, you're both crazy. I turned around and left, regardless of what she did behind me. Love yourself before loving others. At any time, no one is more important than yourself. So from the moment I realized Lucas was having an affair, I detached myself completely from this relationship. Otherwise, I would have been like Amelia is today. Questioning like a madman will only arouse more disgust. Teacher, I've been called to the parents' meeting. Can you come? Seeing this message, I can already imagine the cautious tone Henry used. Okay, I've repeatedly agreed to Henry's requests, not entirely because of the high pay. I see the shadow of my former self in him. I was a left-behind child since childhood and was raised by my grandparents. My parents lacked love for me since I was a child, which made me extremely starved for love and very inferior. When I was a child, I was easily credulous of others' words. In order to make friends, I even began to curry favor with others. Being betrayed again and again made me close off my heart and no longer open it to others. I began to become withdrawn and developed social barriers. It wasn't until Lucas appeared that I believed again that there would still be someone in the world who cared about me. My grandfather was ill and needed a lot of money for treatment. He was afraid of hurting my self-esteem, so he drew up an IOU for me and helped me pay off the medical expenses. Even though my grandfather's surgery failed in the end, I've always been very grateful to him. He would try all sorts of ways to make me laugh when I was unhappy. When I was laughed at for having autism, he would angrily scold those people back for me. When I was lacking in confidence again and again, he firmly told me that he was trustworthy. Even if my heart was as hard as a rock, it would be chipped away bit by him. Even if it was an iceberg, it would be melted little by little. Even after I got together with him later, it was just a little bit, just a tiny bit, I would have fallen in love with him. I should also thank my childhood experiences, which made it easier for me to let him go. Are you Henry's parent? The teacher looked me up and down with a disdainful look in her eyes. Henry's school is a prestigious private school, and the people there are either rich or noble. In contrast to the other parents' brand name clothes, I was wearing all off-brand stuff. No way. Are teachers now judging people by their clothes and classifying them into different ranks? Speak of the devil. Since Henry's parent is here, let Henry apologize to his classmate and compensate. According to the school rules, we'll give him a disciplinary action. Hearing the teacher taking their side, the other parent gave a disdainful snort, folded her arms across her chest, and looked down on me with contempt. I didn't understand what had actually happened. Why was he suddenly asked to apologize? Teacher, could you tell me what happened? Why does he need to apologize? According to the teacher, Henry had beaten his classmate for no reason, making the classmate's head bleed. When asked why, he remained silent. It's impossible for no reason. Hearing the teacher repeat what had happened, the classmate's parent got so angry that she raised her hand to slap Henry. What a little bastard. He dares to beat anyone. Seeing Henry standing there blankly, as if he was going to take the slap, I grabbed Henry's arm and pulled him over, making the slap miss. Henry hid behind me, and a look of surprise flashed across his eyes. Seeing her slap miss, the parent stamped her feet in a fit of rage. I didn't believe anyone. I whispered to Henry, "Did you really beat your classmate?" Henry didn't say a word but just nodded, like she had caught hold of some evidence. The parent became even more arrogant. "See, I told you it was him. In the whole class, besides him, who else could be so vicious?" At home, my child told me that there's no one to attend the parents' meeting for him. What else could he be but a bastard? No wonder he has such a bad character. I was a bit annoyed by what she said and retorted rudely, "Stop talking about bastards all day long. No wonder your child got beaten. Like mother, like son. He deserved to be beaten." Is this how the parents in a prestigious school teach their children? Do they let their kids ridicule their classmates and give them nicknames at school? Hearing her remarks, although I hadn't figured anything out yet, I was sure that Henry must have been wronged at school, being given nicknames and being scolded, which was why he raised his hand to hit someone. I was also called a bastard when I was a child. They said my parents went out to work and didn't want me anymore. I was an unwanted child, a bastard. At that time, my grandparents were old and helpless. I had to fall asleep with tears in my eyes every night. I hugged Henry into my arms and gently patted his back. "Henry, tell the teacher what exactly happened. Anyway, I'm on your side. Don't be afraid." Henry slowly raised his head that had been hanging low. He met my gaze. The look in my eyes was the gentleness and trust he had never seen before. He felt a warm current surging into his heart. This was the trust he had never had before. Following my gaze, he parted his lips and told the whole story bit by bit. The teacher seemed to be hearing him talk so much for the first time. The look in her eyes when she looked at Henry was full of shock. As I expected, his classmates insulted and ridiculed him wantonly while he was doing his homework. They said he didn't have autism but mental illness. They also called him a bastard, and it was the classmate who struck first. More and more people gathered to watch. Everyone was hearing Henry talk so much for the first time. Wow, come and have a look. It's the first time I've heard Henry talk so much. I thought he wouldn't fight back even if he was wrongly accused. As the truth gradually unfolds, the parent feels a bit embarrassed. Just as she is about to speak up to defend her child, several classmates step forward. "I saw it. It was your child who first insulted Henry. There are surveillance cameras in the classroom. If you don't believe it, go and check. We all saw it. Yes, it was he who started swearing, and he also threw the first punch. It seems that this child is not very popular at school either. For a moment, more and more people stood up to speak. The teacher wanted to step in to smooth things over, and I gave a cold laugh. If this parent doesn't apologize, I'll call the police. By then, the surveillance footage will be retrieved and posted online. You'll bear the consequences. I made my point. Their family runs a company and values reputation the most. If their reputation is damaged, who would dare to cooperate with them in the future? The parent's face flushed and paled alternately. Finally, facing everyone's gazes, he bowed to Henry and apologized. Sorry. I looked up and slowly turned to the teacher, my voice indifferent. Doesn't the teacher need to apologize? Framing a student and believing only one side of the story from the parent. The situation completely turned in our favor, and the teacher sincerely apologized to Henry. As for that classmate, we won't hold it against him. Henry made his head bleed, and he has received his due lesson. On the way home, Henry tentatively reached out his hand to hold mine. I held his hand tightly and said to him word by word, Henry, you should speak up when you're wronged or framed. But what if no one believes me? Who says no one will believe you? I believe you. Henry looked at me, a smile spreading across his face. His little canine teeth sparkled in the sunlight. I will. At this moment, the childhood haze finally dissipated completely. Since Amelia had that conversation with me at the coffee shop last time, she has gone crazy. Using her status as a celebrity, she started spreading random rumors about me online. She said that I had interfered in the relationship between her and Lucas and that I was the other woman. She also leaked my home address and personal information. Even so, she never said a single bad word about Lucas online. So funny. How much she must love him. Oh my God, it's a man with a man, putting everything aside. Doesn't this person know that Amelia and Mr. Lucas are almost getting married? Oh my God, knowing she's the other woman and still doing it. How disgusting. What the hell? I kind of feel that the biggest problem lies with Mr. Lucas. Girls, I think Amelia is a bit love-struck. Leaking someone's home address and personal information is illegal, right? There were a lot of scolding voices on the internet, and there were very few rational fans. Soon, they were overwhelmed by the public opinion. I started to be followed and harassed by phone calls. A group of people blocked my doorstep, and I couldn't even go out. Henry noticed my predicament and took me back to his home. I removed the phone card, turned off the phone, and borrowed Henry's phone to call the police. The police quickly took away this group of troublemakers, and Amelia was also taken to the police station for infringing on others' privacy rights. I posted the audio recorded in the coffee shop last time on the internet, as well as my dating experience with Lucas in college and all the evidence of his infidelity. It included chat records, photos, videos, etc. Instantly, the target of the online attacks shifted to these two crazy people. What? How could Lucas be like this? No, Amelia has gone too far this week. She posted someone else's home address online. Damn it, Lucas is really disgusting. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. What he did is really crazy. However, these two are quite a match. The crazy man and the crazy woman. The love-struck and the crazy are simply a perfect match. Amazing, amazing. What a big reversal. Damn it. I really misjudged. I'm unsubscribing. Amelia's love is too crazy. I can't be her fan anymore. Unsubscribe +1. She's in this mess entirely because of her own actions. Unsubscribe +10,086. I heard that once this incident came out, Lucas's company's reputation was greatly damaged, and the companies that originally wanted to cooperate with it all withdrew their investments, resulting in huge economic losses. When I got home, Lucas was squatting downstairs in my house, waiting for me to come back. Seeing me coming, he immediately stepped forward to greet me. Oliver, you're back. His hair was in a mess. The suit that was usually neatly ironed was now all wrinkled, and his tie was askew. He looked extremely disheveled. What are you doing here? Oliver, I was wrong. Please forgive me. Lucas's voice trembled, full of endless pleading. He looked at me with eager anticipation. It's impossible. I looked straight at him, and every word was like stabbing a knife into his heart. Lucas has ended up like this entirely because of his own doing. I can never forgive you. Oliver, please listen to my explanation. Lucas's voice was hoarse. At first, I just wanted to deal with my parents, but I didn't expect to fall into their trap and get stuck in it. When I said to break up with you, I just wanted you to come back to me. I didn't really want to break up with you. After we separated, I realized that I really couldn't live without you. I gave a cold laugh. At this moment, my desire for revenge reached its peak. Of course, Lucas couldn't live without me. Every morning, I would learn to be like a virtuous wife, iron his clothes, match his outfits, tie his tie for him, and prepare breakfast for him. He had a stomach problem, so I would go to deliver meals to him every noon and evening. After his social engagements, I would help him take off the suit covered in vomit and prepare a hangover soup for him. I never restricted his personal freedom. He could do whatever he liked. I endured all his cold looks without any complaints. All of this is not something that a person who has been pampered since childhood can do. Once the two of them are together, they will only quarrel endlessly. At this time, Lucas will start to miss my goodness. He began to constantly mention my name in front of Amelia, saying that she was inferior to me in every way. Lucas, do you still remember the promise you made back then? Those who betray will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. However, I'm quite magnanimous. You just need to never appear in front of me again. Hearing my words, Lucas' face turned pale for a moment, and he staggered out of my sight. Later, his family failed to save their business and went bankrupt. No one was willing to offer a helping hand to him. Lucas bent his knees again and again to his once good friends, but no one was willing to fill their bottomless pit of debt. All of a sudden, he became a homeless dog. In the end, this proud young man gave in. He sold the family villa and his beloved car to barely pay off the debts. He knew that his current status was no longer worthy of me, so he never came to see me again. I remembered that he saved my grandfather back then, and the medical expenses probably totaled about 200 yuan. With the money I saved over the years and the money I earned from tutoring, I anonymously transferred 500 yuan to his bank card. He took the money and moved to another city with his parents to live. It is easy to go from frugality to luxury, but difficult to go from luxury to frugality. It won't be easy for him to support his whole family with 500 yuan. He'll have a taste of the hardships brought by daily necessities. 10. After teaching Henry until the end of his senior year in high school and sending him into the college entrance examination hall, I resigned from my job to his mother. His mother was very grateful to me and thought that I saved Henry. Otherwise, his life would have been ruined. You were wrong from the beginning. Henry is not as naughty and unruly as you described. You truly believe that he is a bad boy in your heart. No matter what he does, it's always wrong. Do you know that he was bullied at school? I heard from Henry that every time he had conflicts with others at school, you only listened to the teacher's one-sided story, paid the money and left without caring more. Do you know that he was called a bastard at school? His mother stood still, her eyes full of shock. He is well-behaved and sensible. He has always just wanted to get a bit of love. I knew that it was enough to say these things. If she really listened, she would correct her ways. After Henry got home and found that I had left, he came to my place right away. At that time, I was packing my luggage. He stood outside the door with red-rimmed eyes. Are you going to abandon me too? He rushed forward and hugged me regardless, with tears sliding down from the corners of his eyes. Teacher, I only have you. Please don't leave. I stood still and finally reached out my hand to pat his back gently. Teacher, I'm an adult now. I can date you. Don't abandon me. I'll be even more well-behaved from now on. Henry kept justifying himself in front of me. I sighed and picked up my suitcase, ready to leave. With red-rimmed eyes, he stood there, watching my back. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and follow me. Henry's side story. When I first saw the tutor, I was stunned. I had never seen such a gentle person before. He taught me gently, and he basically agreed to all the requests I made. I also tried hard to get along with him like a normal person. In this relationship, I uncontrollably fell in love with him. Every time he gave me a lecture, I couldn't help but stare at him for a long time. Later, I found out that he had a boyfriend, but his boyfriend didn't seem to like him. Every time they talked on the phone, his boyfriend said he was busy. Through investigation, I learned that his boyfriend had an affair. I did everything I could to make him see what kind of person his boyfriend was. Fortunately, they broke up. Actually, I had already learned the knowledge taught in school, but I wanted him to praise me more. I started to build an image of a hard-working student and was extremely delighted by his repeated praises. I was so eager to get close to him. When I tricked him into my home again, I couldn't help but kiss him and quietly watched his sleeping face. Someone in school insulted me, and I fought back. When I called him to school, I thought he would be like my parents, believing the teacher's one-sided story, scolding me angrily and telling me not to cause trouble all the time. But he didn't. He chose to believe me without hesitation and helped me fight back one by one. He encouraged me to tell the truth. On the way back, he told me that he would believe me for a lifetime. I'm very happy. He's on the hot search and has been slandered. He's been hiding at my place these days. I'm very worried about him and accompany him every day, afraid that he might do something stupid. Fortunately, he's stronger than I thought and fought back online. I knew he was very capable. For the first time, I bowed to my mother, hoping that she could deliver the final blow and make Lucas' company go bankrupt. I thought I could be with the teacher after the college entrance examination, but he left me behind. I stood at his door, watching him pack his suitcase, and couldn't help but get teary-eyed. I begged him not to abandon me and kept telling him that I would be obedient. In the end, he softened his heart. I wasn't abandoned.